The second year of World War II, 1941, began with a series of impressive British and Commonwealth successes against the Italian Axis forces in Libya. Australian troops led the advance, but a rapid German offensive quickly reversed these early victories. All that stopped a German march on Egypt and the Suez Canal was the defiant garrison at Tobruk. For 8 long months, surrounded by German and Italian forces, the men of the Tobruk garrison, mostly Australians, withstood tank attacks, artillery barrages and daily bombings. They endured the desert's searing heat, the bitterly cold nights and hellish dust storms. They lived in dugouts, caves and crevices. The defenders of Tobruk did not surrender. They did not retreat. Their determination, bravery and humour, combined with the aggressive tactics of their commanders, became a source of inspiration during some of the war's darkest days. In so doing, they achieved lasting fame as the Rats of Tobruk. Inside the Tobruk defences was a large fig tree, the only feature in an otherwise barren landscape. This tree marked the entrance to an underground network of caves, which were used by the Australians as a regimental aid post to treat the wounded before they were transferred to hospital. Visible from miles away, the vicinity of the fig tree was frequently shelled by the enemy, but the tree somehow managed to survive and later became an important symbol to the Rats of Tobruk. Tobruk is located on Libya's eastern Mediterranean coast, near the border of Egypt. Tobruk is a port city which has a deep natural and protected harbour. The port could never be rendered wholly useless as the result of a military bombardment because of these attributes. Also, it had been heavily fortified by the Italians whilst under their control. To the south there were a number of escarpments and cliffs. These were natural obstacles to any troops advancing on the port over land. Took an excellent place to supply a desert warfare campaign. The German general Erwin Rommel, commander of the Africa Corps, saw the importance of Tobruk and all the Libyan ports as they provided a route of supply and were necessary in order to continue into Egypt and control the Suez Canal. The control of the port of Tobruk was of great importance to not only North Africa but to the entire war. Australia's Tobruk siege veterans lives on in this simple Albert Park building 80 years later. Pipe band players come from across Melbourne to ROTA, but sometimes they are a bit forgetful.
O'clock at night we got into Tobruk, and all we did was just, the trucks pulled up and we jumped off, and all we did was just sort of dug a little depression in the ground and laid a ground sheet on the ground and laid on that until the morning, and woke up in the morning and were half buried in sand. There'd been a storm through the night. And the way the sand drifts over there, it just travels. And we're just pushing the sand away like that to get up in the morning.
Uses about 26 litres of air a minute. So if you're a smoker, rather than a statue in a park somewhere, the original Rats of Tobruk here wanted something that was going to be moving forward, moving on, representing the band as a live sort of thing, which it has done since 1960. And way back in the old days, the band used to practice and do everything here many years ago. We've since moved on to different places and that sort of stuff, but I can tell you, I've been with the band, there's a couple of guys here who've been with the band for quite a long time, Lindsay in particular back to the 60s. I've been with the band since about 95, and it really is our honour to come here and do what we're doing to represent the Rats. If you're a visitor to the place and you have a look around the walls and have a read of the story, it's a very moving story. And just while we're having a bit of a break, the band went to Libya to play at Gaddafi's 40th anniversary of the revolution. And the reason we went there was because the first and most important one, he paid. The second one, he paid Melbourne to Melbourne, which is fabulous. Our only stipulation was that we wanted to go to Tobruk, to the Commonwealth War Cemetery there, and do a commemorative play out there. We call it a play out when we do it, but we did a service there. It was about 45 degrees in the shade, and we were in full ball. You might see some photos around the place of us in full ball, which is the red, the doublets, and all wool and all that sort of stuff. We did it there. It was one of the most moving things that I have ever participated in, because obviously there's a lot of rats there, and there was a couple of members in the band at that stage that were playing laments over the graves of some of, like Ron Barassi's father. Bob Semple, who's well known to most people that frequent this place. Bob's story I won't go into, a very tragic story with his troop, and they were all buried in a line at the Tobruk Cemetery. We played a lament there, and so forth. I read the book. I'm not commending the book to anyone, it's up to you to read it, but I read Peter Fitzsimon's book Tobruk before I went, and I read it and I was enthralled with the story and the whole lot, and all that sort of thing. When I came back, I read the book again, and let me tell you that having been there to see what these guys put up with and where they lived, associated with each other, fought for everyone, for us, I read the book again, and I can tell you that I didn't turn a page without a tear in my eye. It is a very, very moving story. So these guys around this wall and up on these boards that we're representing is a great honour for us, and I would defy anyone in the band to say that it's not, because it is, and we wouldn't do it if we didn't want to. So it's fabulous to be here. I hope we're managing to entertain you. We'll do a couple more tunes. When you've had enough, just lock the door when you go out.
I reflect on these things as in the more sombre moments, the time you reflect on it. And as you grow older, of course, you never really forget.
I shouldn't be proud of us, Ruth. But I was never frightened, was a funny thing. Never ever frightened. No matter how tough it was, there was always a way out somehow or other.